from your active.
My what?
Hello everyone, and welcome to the TheRookieCritic YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to do my very first review of a comic book, and that is Star Wars Son of Dathomir. Now, before I actually get into talking about the comic book, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and my history with comics. Now, growing up, I never got into comic books. I was more into like the Magic Treehouse and other Star Wars books and plenty of other types of kids' books. And growing up, I watched, my cartoons, and eventually I got into film and never really got into comic books. In fact, I just discovered that comic books still get printed and are still made because of Ethan Van Sciver on YouTube. I, of course, found Ethan Van Sciver through World Class Bullshitters, through not liking a lot of the Star Wars sequels that have come out since Disney bought it, and it's kind of funny because Ethan Van Sciver, when I clicked on his videos, he was mostly pointing at the camera and talking about the Star Wars articles or something, talking about Star Wars, and then here and there, he would like slip a little thing going like, and blah 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 Star Wars, and and there's a little Cyberfrog book that I made back in the day because I am a comic book artist, and something about it, and whatever, okay, back to Star Wars, and then in another video, he'd just be like, okay, blah 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 Star Wars, and I drew a few pages of what my comic might look like, I kind of want to make a new comic book, and then eventually he launched his Indiegogo campaign for Cyberfrog, and holy shit, the more he was talking about this story, the more he was talking about how cool it was, the more I kind of wanted to see it. I wanted to see how the story freaking goes. So I backed his Cyberfrog comic because I want to see how that story is, and the images he drew looks pretty cool, and the coloring looks awesome from Kyle Ritter, and that was my first introduction to comic books, honestly. Like through him I realized, oh, they still actually make it? I thought that any comic book that exists now was pretty much just whatever's left from like 10 years ago when they stopped making them, was how I kind of thought of it. But it's not like it's a thriving industry right now. According to Comicsgate, it's really dying, and they're trying to do their own thing to help kind of resurrect and save it and discover new fans like myself, for example, whom, hook us in with some pop culture stuff and Star Wars and then introduce us to comics, and if we like it, we like it. If we don't, we don't. And that's pretty much me and comic books. So lately, I was just kind of curious about reading a comic book. I was going to wait for Cyberfrog or Stealing Solo or other comics that I bought from Comicsgate, but that seems like they're going to be a little while before I get them. So I'm being an eager McBeaver and got myself a comic anyway, and I love Star Wars, and Darth Maul is kick-ass. So I don't have any type of format for doing a comic book review. I'm going to probably put some images that I took from the comic up on screen while I talk. I don't know if I should be spoilery or be kind of vague, honestly, because I don't really know how to review a comic book. I'm more of a movie guy. I can do that easier. But I'll just say, obviously, they show a lot of Darth Maul in the Star Wars Clone Wars TV show series, and they really make him look badass and cool. Of course, he got cut in half in The Phantom Menace by Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then he seemed to have survived through the magic of the Night Sisters, which is like Mother Talzin is his mom from his planet Dathomir, and it has all these magic powers similar to the Force but different, and is able to keep him alive through that, and he ends up taking control of these crime syndicates and like all these underground organizations and the gangsters, the Hutts, Pikes, everything. He pretty much rises from the underground and becomes, in a way, a third party to the whole battle going on between the Republic and the Separatists. So the start of the comic book takes place right at the end of where we left off in the Clone Wars, where we last saw Darth Maul, which is where, this is spoiler for the show, if you haven't seen it, you got like 2 seconds to click off now if you want to wait to see the show. It's where Darth Maul and his brother Savage are confronted by Darth Sidious. The Emperor challenges them, and because he's like, dude, you're ruining my plans right now, you're just not doing anything right, you're getting in my way now, crap. And he basically kills Savage and defeats Darth Maul, and he's like, I have plans for you yet. I think that knowing those details will help you understand where this story takes place, because that just all leads up to right where this begins. Now I'm going to give you my first impressions on the comic in general. I was kind of expecting a more flimsy magazine-style book, but I really like this type of format. It's like a normal kind of book, just like a regular book, and I don't know, the art looks pretty cool on it, in my opinion. Shows him and Dooku and Darth Maul looking cool. I love the black saber. That was a Mandalorian lightsaber, I think. I guess for a review, I should talk about the artwork. I'm not going to tell you the whole story of everything that happens in here because I feel like that is very spoilery, and if you wanted to buy it and read it and, do it yourself, look at the pictures and figure out the story, then I don't want to cheat you. But I'll let you know if I have any spoilers coming in as we go. But yeah, the artwork, for me, this being my first comic book I've ever read, I don't know what to expect from comic books currently. I don't know if there's extremely better work from the past or something, but just looking at it, it looks decent to me. Some of the expressions are pretty good. There are some areas where they look a little funny, I'll admit, but that could just be because of shadows that they draw or perspective of the angle that their face, it's hard to make them look like who they are from a drawing, but this could be me, I don't know. Watching the Star Wars shows and movies and then reading the comic book, I feel like they really keep the characters going really well. I mean, they feel like General Grievous. They feel like Darth Maul. They feel like Sidious. I like, as I'm reading them, I'm glad that they had the Clone Wars show, for example, because I can hear their voice on there, and then when I'm reading this, I'm putting that voice into them. So every time Grievous says a line like, good, press the attack, I'm imagining him going like, good, press the attack. Like in his voice. Darth Maul, whenever he's talking, I can see it in his, kind of raspy, deep, quiet voice. And it's like, I feel like I should tell you, if you don't know that much about the Night Sisters or Mother Talzin, I kind of feel like in this, they make them seem really cool. Mother Talzin basically rivals Darth Sidious in power. Not in, lightsaber skills, not in the Force, but her own magic that she uses, her own dark magic, is pretty much, it's a threat to him. It's a rival to him. He would probably have normally seen Darth Maul doing his thing with the underground as a little skirmish thing, nothing too bad, but because of Mother Talzin and her powers that she has, he does not like that. He wants to eliminate her forever, get her out of there. There's even a point, honestly, where it feels like Dragon Ball Z, where Darth Sidious and Mother Talzin have like an electric showdown, and there's like a different balancing of power when others try to come in and help and try to, weigh the scale, and it seems pretty cool. And the way that Darth Maul is respected. I mean, he was just the Phantom Menace guy that fought Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and got cut in half by the end of it, and that's the end of him. And the show and the comic book really go out of their way to make him seem really cool. He has actual character moments. Like, you can't see it in the movie, but in the show and in the comic, I mean, he's got emotions, he's got feelings, he's got goals, motivation. He wants to, finally be accepted in a way, too, by his own mom and by his superiors, and he wants to defeat them. He wants to show everyone that he's not a little bitch. Not being a comic book reader, I am very impressed with the storytelling abilities because it's just little bubbles on pictures. It's pictures with little bubbles of dialogue and a little description of what's happening. But it's done really well. I mean, the story tells itself just with the images, and then the dialogue just kind of makes it more specific and clear. And I don't know, I liked it big time. Like I said, I don't want to spoil everything for you, so I'm not going to tell you the whole things about the story, but as a non-comic book reader, as one who just read his first comic book, this was pretty cool. And if you like Star Wars especially, give this dude a read. I'm going to do the X-Men 23 one next. This was, in my opinion, this video that I just made was horrible quality, horrible review, because I didn't really write any points down. I just was talking out of my ass here. So if there's a few jumps, I'm sorry, but but I'm going to do more. But reading these comic books have made me a little more curious about how other comic books are. So I'm more looking forward to Cyberfrog and Stealing Solo and Lone Star and those other ones. So I might buy another comic book or two before they get here, and if I do, I'll do a review. That's all I'm going to say for today. So have a good day. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please like, share, subscribe, notify, or comment. You can contact me at the links to social media below.